Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review, and we get to continue the Eaglemoss's Ghostbusters Ecto-1. We are on issue 3, stage number 6. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. With that, let's get started. Welcome back. Now let's look at issue 3, stage 6. In stage 6, we assemble the left engine block, dipstick, and the ignition wire junction. It looks like we only have 4 steps here, and I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't done so already, head over to Eaglemoss and subscribe to this before it sells out. I put a link in the description below. If you like this video, please hit the like. If you don't already subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. So let's get the parts out, let's get a closer look, and let's assemble. I'll be right back. Here's the parts that came with stage 6. They're wrapped up in a nice bag, also protected by blister pack. So I'll go ahead and take these out. We'll get a closer look at them, and we'll identify the parts, and then we'll start the assembly. Real quick, these are how the parts look as they are presented inside the blister pack. And behind them was 3 bags of screws, AP screws, BP screws, and DM screws. Here's a close-up of the parts. We received the left engine block, the left engine support, the engine block lower part, the dipstick, the left exhaust manifold, the left cylinder head, ignition wire junction, left cylinder head cover, or the valve cover as we call it, and everything is plastic except for the left engine block. So the first step for stage 6 in assembling the engine, we're going to assemble the left engine block, and the motor mount for this block is right here. I was wrong. This part is actually metal, so which makes sense to me because this is going to mount the engine onto the chassis, and you want to have a strong connection there along with the left side of the engine there. Simply, it's just going to insert into this area right here, and your 2 holes there are going to line up. We're going to install 2 DM screws. Now I want to go ahead and lubricate those holes with my old standby, the Vaseline lip therapy. And like I said, you can head over to my Amazon store if you haven't done so already, and you can purchase it right there. Use these little applicators. It's just going to help those DM screws go in a lot easier. And just make sure the holes line up. You can kind of feel a detent on there when you do. And you can feel the threads cutting in. Just going to leave it a little loose so I can put the next one in. Try to go in as straight as possible. Alright, tighten that down, and the next one. There we go. And that's how it looks. From the side. That's one of your engine mounts. Next we'll flip this over, and they want us to install lower engine block part. That would be this part right here. And one side is longer than the other. Lubricate it. A DM screw has to go into it. There you go. That's even there. And it's centered right there. Centered and even. Okay. Next they want us to go ahead and put our dipstick into it. They want you to insert it in like that. I am going to skip the dipstick in this step. I'm going to put that in a little bit later. I intend to glue it in place. It's plastic and I don't want it to break, so I'm going to skip the dipstick for now, the oil dipstick. So let's move on to step 2, which is assembling the cylinder head. Here are the parts for assembling the cylinder head. In this we'll be using a combination of screws. We'll be using some BP screws and some AP screws. Now this represents the Cadillac General Motor 390 V8, which produced 325 horsepower at 4,800 RPMs. So the first thing they want us to do here is slide the exhaust manifold into the cylinder head, and that's what that looks like there. Go ahead and take the exhaust manifold, and it has some tabs there that will slide in. We want to go in that direction, just like that. And on the bottom we'll install 3 AP screws. Those are plastic. Should be pretty easy to do. These you want to be careful you don't over tighten because you could strip them out. As soon as you feel some resistance, stop. That's the second one that's done. And one more. Very cool. And that's how that looks there. Next, in step 2, they want us to insert the ignition wire junction, or retainer, onto the cylinder head like that, and make sure it's on there before we install the valve cover. Okay, so the valve cover simply goes down on top, and then that retainer gets sandwiched in right here. And when we install the valve cover, we're going to be installing that with 4 BP screws. Kind of hold that in place here a little bit. Install a BP screw. Not too tight. Little resistance. Stop so we don't strip it out. That looks great. We have 3 more to install. Looking good. And there's our valve cover installed fully. I like how the color of the plastic matches the paint with the metal parts. It's definitely GM blue for the engine block and the cylinder heads. I noticed some of the guys in social media are painting and detailing the Cadillac symbol on this. I'm not so sure that that was actually done on the factory car or not. But like I said, it's your build. You can do what you want with it. And I think it's fantastic that they've even thought about doing that with theirs. I think it's cool. So let's move on to what we're going to be doing with step 6. In step 3, they want us to fit the cylinder head to the engine block, and you can see I left the dipstick off. The dipstick would have to slide in behind this manifold like that. Okay, so I really don't want to have it in the way right now, and you can still attach the cylinder head to the block just like that, and you can still slide your dipstick through this. Okay, so it's not going to be a problem to leave it off. So once that's on there, we'll flip it over and we'll insert 2 AP screws. And to help us with the next step, we have to install the cylinder head into the engine block, and you can see the hole is kind of small for the screw here. So I'm just going to pre-install the screw to cut the threads. That way when I mount it to the engine, it's going to be a lot easier. Just straight down. Cut it in. Then I'll pull it out. Now I can mount the cylinder head. Line it up just like that. Get my screw started here. There's one. And number 2. There we go. That's all assembled now, right there. And step 4, which is the last step for this build, we're going to install the block to the gearbox. Now we want to have the block on the left side of the gearbox. This is the gearbox looking down at from the top. This would be the left side here and the right side over there. And we're simply going to line up that connector that we installed earlier, just like that. And we're going to install a DM screw. So I want to lubricate the hole for that. Just like that. And get that just like that lined up. And tighten that DM screw down. And there it is. That's how it looks. So our engine's starting to come around. Looks great. I will be right back. Now installing the dipstick, I'm still going to leave it off for a little bit because I don't want to break it. But like I said, you can just slide it through the cylinder head like that, and then it goes in the hole into the slot there. But I want to leave it out so I don't break it. And that completes our assembly for step 6. I really enjoyed this. This is really coming around. And I think it really looks the part. The color is the right color for me, for the General Motors. A lot of folks are doing some detail painting on theirs, and that's fine. It's their kit. They can do what they want. But anyway, I think, and I think theirs look great, by the way. The detail they've been doing with it, I'm not criticizing. I think it's fantastic, and that's why I'm mentioning it now, because that's something you could do with your kit. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this before it sells out. And if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. With that, I look forward to receiving the next pack with the next 4 stages to assemble. And I'm waiting for those. So stay tuned. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.